Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you are new here. Now you probably haven't seen my garage if you've stuck around for a while this clean, but there's been some things that have happened recently here, and the direction of the channel is still gonna kind of be the same, but different. So the last time we were in this garage, it was with a green LS swapped 1978 Jeep Wrangler or CJ5, and it was really cool. You guys that have been involved with this channel for a while have come to kind of know me as the off-road guy, and you're not wrong, right? If you watch an old video that I did way back in the beginning of this channel's lifetime, I kind of explained that I had some on-road performance cars and hot rods and had worked all around the auto industry in different genres of vehicles, basically. And I have some changes that are happening in my life coming up, and it didn't make a whole lot of sense to continue down the off-road path for a while. I'm not really gonna have the time to enjoy those vehicles, and they're not really all that much fun on the street. So that brings me to the newest edition of the channel and why its name has changed. Let's check it out. Here's the newest addition to the house, to the channel, and it is a 2002 Corvette C5. If you guys are tuning into this video because you want to hear me talk about the vehicle anti-theft bypass that only costs 10 cents, then you're going to want to fast forward in the video, because I'm going to take the next couple of minutes, being that this is an established channel that is now kind of changing directions, to talk about really quick why the C5 and why not any other vehicle. So the C5 Corvette is the absolute best bang for the buck sports car that you can buy. It's better than all the Mustangs, it's better than all the Camaros, it's even better than all the Chargers and Challengers. And that's simply because it's old, so it's cheap. But it's got great potential and great power in factory form, even in a base model such as this and not a Z06. The performance stats on this car hang with modern day sports cars using 25-year-old technology, which is pretty cool. We're talking 0 to 60 in about 4 seconds, depending upon the model you buy or whether it's got modifications in it, sometimes even faster. It's got a top speed of 175 miles an hour, pulls almost a G in the skid pad. And guys, this car is pretty cheap to buy. It's got an LS1 under the hood, which is a very reliable platform and very easily modified to make more power. It's got a 51%, 49% weight balance in the car, so it just handles and brakes and accelerates extremely well, and they look pretty dang cool. Now the bodies of Corvettes are fiberglass, so you're never going to find any rust or anything on the body, which is really nice. And the interior in these cars really isn't bad. It's not really super outdated or anything. There's that nice little LS1 in there. The C5 has a really interesting backstory. It wasn't even supposed to actually exist. Back in the 90s, GM was having some financial trouble. The C4 Corvette, everyone remembers the Barbie car Corvette, sold really well in the beginning of its generation, in the beginning of its lifetime, but not so well toward the end. And basically, they were gonna kill the Corvette. They had pulled all the funding, and the head of GM at the time wanted the future of the brand to rely on Pontiac. With all that said, a few people snuck away, and I do mean like 3 or 4 people. They snuck away in their off time after work, and an abandoned hangar basically designed the C5 Corvette, which was a complete overhaul. Not just a new body style, not just a new power plant, not just new wiring. I mean, they completely redesigned the car to essentially be a street legal, dealer sold race car right off the factory lot. And even though it's 20-something years old at this point, depending upon which year you buy, like I said earlier, it still hangs with modern day sports cars, and you can buy one like this for less than $15,000. So it's an awesome bargain and very easily modified to actually keep up with today's C7s and C8 Corvettes, which, by the way, anyone who's driven a Tesla knows that it's a missionary position car. The C8 is exactly the same. They're way too computer controlled. It just is what it is. Because these cars are getting old, they do, like anything that gets old, like my knees, they do actually have some quirks to them. And the first one brings us to the VATS system, right? The VATS system is the vehicle anti-theft system for these older cars. They did use the key for that. You're gonna see this little black square in here. A lot of people kind of think that's some type of computer chip. All it is a resistor, okay? So you can measure your resistor with a multimeter and measure it using the ohm reading, right? It kind of looks like a set of headphones. That's the symbol on your multimeter. I'm going to show you guys how to do that, show you what the ohm reading is on my particular key. Yours will probably be different. There were many, many different resistance settings for these cars. And that is what we are going to trick the computer into thinking is in the ignition. And we are going to set it for the ohms setting, right? That's this guy here. Like I said, it kind of looks like a set of headphones. We're basically just going to touch them to each side of this key, right? One lead to one side right on the metal there, and the other one to the other side. And it's going to tell us how many ohms this key basically tells the ignition in the car in order for it to function and turn on. So you see there, 523 ohms. Now, 523 ohms means the ignition cylinder wants to see 523 ohms plus or minus about 5% in order to actually allow your fuel injectors to fire. So a lot of people, when they have a VATS issue with these cars, they wind up taking their key, they put it in the ignition, they turn it, and the motor's cranking, but the actual fuel injectors never actually pulse any fuel into the motor, and therefore it will not start. Now, that doesn't mean your key is wore out. It could, but it could also just mean that the ignition cylinder where you're putting this in has lost contact over time, or it's gotten corroded, gotten dirty, gotten just simply worn out, and it's no longer making contact with this resistor on the key, and therefore your car can't start. If you search the internet, it often happens to people when they're 100 miles away from home, they pull into a gas station, shut the car off, can't start it again, and that sucks. But there's a very easy 10-cent way to fix it. We're going to dive in. I'm going to show you guys what I did. Basically, you can go to any electronics store and you can buy what's called a resistor. That 5% number is important. And what you can also do is actually link different resistors together to equal your 523 if yours is the same as mine. You don't necessarily need one resistor that matches it. You can take a couple. You can even take three, as long as the total of those adds up to 523, right? Not 560. That's too much, right? So you need to be close, or as close as possible to this in order to get it to work. But basically, when you put your key in the ignition, right? And that's that part that wears that I told you about earlier. It should make contact. And when you turn the key, it then activates through your body control module, your VATS system, and that's when it starts looking for the key. So without my key in there right now, it's not looking for the key. That's why my security light is still blinking. It'll only look for it once I put it in and then turn the ignition. Okay, now it's looking for it. You'll see security light went off because it sees it. But I could put in a key that doesn't even have this resistor because of the modification I did for that 10 cents. Now, what you're basically going to do is drop this knee panel. Now, you could remove your entire center console so that you could actually get to the area behind this, but it's not necessary. So I'm going to save you guys a bunch of time and show you what exactly needs to be done. Now, this has two bolts underneath it on the bottom down here. You can feel them. Mine are two different sizes because, you know, old car stuff. With that panel down, all right, hopefully it's not too dark in here, you're going to be able to basically reach up behind this area here, kind of up toward your cylinder, and you're going to find a black wire. Okay, it's the only black wire that's going to be right up behind this plastic trim here, right off of your ignition cylinder. Now that black wire, if you follow it down, it's going to run you to a black plastic clip that you can see right here. Okay, now mine looks a little bit different because I've already modified it, but essentially This black wire, this end of it that I cut off, is just insulation. There's actually 2 white wires inside of it. You're going to just cut those and leave yourself about a 1/2 inch or so, 3/4 of an inch of wire sticking out of this plug. Now this plug unplugs, so you can take it out and then carry it over to your workbench and use those 2 wires that were sticking out to basically attach your resistor across them, right? That's what I did, and then I just wrapped it in electrical tape to protect it. Now I did solder those together. That joint has to be reliable, and it has to be secure, and it has to be strong. But once that's done, you basically can come back over here and plug it back in again, and you're done. That resistor now, whenever I turn my key, whether I have one that has a resistor or not, is looking for that 523 ohms, and that's the exact resistor that I have in there. So I'm able to then turn my key, all right, we'll do it here. I'm able to put my key in, I can turn it. Like I said, that security light goes out, you'll hear the engine crank, and then you'll hear it start up. There we go. So as you guys saw, no check engine lights. The car started, which means the VATS is working because my injectors are pulsing. Can't start without fuel. And that's all there is to it. So guys, stick around. Make sure that you give my channel a subscribe and follow if you guys are interested in having a good, fun, cool looking, great sounding, great performing, cheap sports car. These cars are cheap to insure. They're cheap to work on. They're easy to work on. And we're going to go through maintaining and modifying this vehicle right here on this channel. So if you like the history lesson about the C5, there's more of that where it came from. And guys, I appreciate all the support, and reach out to me if you have any questions on Instagram at Warpaint Texas.